Seth.
How are you doing?
Good, good. How about you?
Doing well, doing well.
Yes. How is the campaign trail treating you?
It is a zoo and a circus and everything I thought it would be, and a little bit more. I'm a teacher, so I teach, seventh grade civics at Lincoln Middle School, and I actually decided I'm going to pick up a little bit more of a backpack of bricks. I'm teaching first and second grade reading and writing at
Wow.
Rawlings. That ends tomorrow, though, so at least I'll have 6 months to campaign. So
Wow, that's
six
crazy.
weeks without school.
You clearly like to keep busy.
Yes.
Okay.
I
Well,
gotta,
see, and I like to keep busy watching World Cup and Wimbledon, but to
yeah,
each their own.
was it Brazil and Japan were
I
tied?
know. I popped out. I have back-to-back interviews this afternoon, but I just popped out to take a quick look, and I saw the very end that Brazil squeaked it out. I guess right, 2-1. Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy,
So,
crazy, crazy. I have kind of a love-hate relationship with soccer, but I don't know how you can't get caught up in all the
oh,
fever of World Cup.
yeah.
It's so crazy.
It's crazy, and it's the one thing that I always try to tell people, and this is because I did sports,
Mhm.
TV and radio for decades,
Ah, okay.
and the one thing that I always tell people is, you know, as much as we say we Americans, we love America, America, we love America,
Hmm.
we don't have that passion about any of our national teams like every other country does.
Oh yeah,
We
no,
don't.
no.
And I don't even know which, I mean, you would say soccer, probably, maybe. I thought for the longest time it was Team USA basketball, but then you had people openly rooting against them. So I don't know what team you would say is you know, for the longest time it was the dream team in basketball in the 90s, but
Yeah, yeah. I
Jordan,
think
all that.
we've let too much money come into it. It's too corporate and too much money. And so when you see the other countries where, and not that some of the countries anyway aren't pouring money in, it's nothing like ours. And
Yeah.
so you really do see, and I think I'm a little older than you, but I've been watching sports my whole life, and there really used to be, you knew everybody on the team, and you knew everybody on the team for a decade, and now I don't even think you can get through a whole season knowing everybody on the team. So
You're right.
that's part of it too. Well, anyway, we could talk sports all day,
Yeah.
clearly, but but we do have some business to take care of. So I'll walk you through kind of how this, because we're new to this.
Okay.
We've been doing these candidate interviews via Zoom since the pandemic. So I do see some familiar faces, but I'm very happy also to see some brand new faces. So
Good.
so what we're going to do, I have our recording paused, and that's the biggest stress point for me for these, is making sure I remember to turn the recording back on. So
Good.
I will do that, and then I will introduce myself, and then I'm going to introduce you just by name.
Okay.
You've got and what office you're running for. And then you have a couple minutes to just say a little bit about yourself. You don't have to get too much into like why you're running and
Okay.
your platform, because I've got questions to cover that. So
Absolutely.
more just a little bit about your personal background. And then we'll go through the 5 questions. And then at the end, I'll toss the floor back to you, and you'll have some time to hit anything we didn't hit, emphasize anything you want to emphasize, and then just close us out.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
All right, and then the process for this is I've got interviews. We've got a lot of people running for office, so I've got interviews through July 15th.
Okay.
And then at that point, we're going to turn them into the little YouTube videos, and I will send you yours so you can send it out to your people, and then we'll have them on our website. We'll be pushing them on our socials. So hopefully we'll get some good coverage out in the community before primary day.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. You're going to
All
send it out in mass on July 15th, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I will. We'll have all of them posted. It probably won't be the 15th. It takes a day or two
Okay.
for my fabulous tech person to get them turned around. But yeah, we'll be pushing all of the candidates that the interviews are up and ready to watch, and we'll be doing that nonstop through the end. But I'll send you your specific one so you can send it out to your all your various sources, and so everybody can get a chance to look at it.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. We ready to go?
You drop Ranny. I ran ESPN Gainesville, and on top of that, I taught as an adjunct professor, social media, broadcasting, public speaking at the University of Florida in the College of Journalism. So that's my career background as a broadcaster and as a teacher.
Okay, I'm so sorry, Seth. It appears that I did not get the recording started right on time. So I want to take the chance. I don't want to cut off anything, and I'm not sure quite where we cut off. So let's start this all over again, like it never happened. And oh gosh, I knew with recordings all afternoon, I knew it was going to happen just once. So all right, so here we go. We'll start, and my marketing person is well versed in cutting off these little beginning things, because you never quite know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I get it.
Hello, this is Vicki Gervakis at the Greater Gainesville Chamber of Commerce, and I am delighted to welcome Seth Harp today to have a conversation with us. Seth is one of our candidates for the U.S. Representative seat for District 3. And so we're going to get to know him a little bit better today. Seth, let's start with a little bit about yourself, and then I've got some questions for you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Vicki, and thanks to the Greater Gainesville Chamber as well for this opportunity to share with everyone who I am and what we're doing here with the Harp for Congress campaign. I'm a seventh grade civics teacher at Lincoln Middle School. And I tell everybody, how cool is that? I get to teach the next generation of young boys and girls about how our government works, how it is structured, how we got to where we were all the way back in the 1760s and 1770s, all the way to where we are today. So it is an awesome responsibility, and I enjoy every single day that I'm there. Before that, I was in broadcasting for almost 30 years. I grew up in Indiana, broadcast our high school basketball games. I played football and baseball. So I was broadcasting before I could drive, Vicki, at the age of 15. And what was remarkable about that is I went to college for it. I started off at WKZO Radio in Kalamazoo, Michigan, right out of college. At 23 years old, I was one of the youngest talk show hosts in the history of that station, Political News Talk. It's where Tom Snyder, Paul Harvey, Harry Carey all got their start. So when you see those three pictures on the wall when you walk in there, and there's a picture of 23-year-old me next to it as a news anchor and sports anchor and as a host, that's a gravity that you don't really understand at 23 years old, but at 47 you look back on with a little bit of a smile on your face. So I've had an amazing career in broadcasting, and I've enjoyed being a teacher. Prior to being a teacher at Lincoln Middle School, I worked at the University of Florida in the College of Journalism and Communications. There, I ran the Gator Radio Network. On top of that, I taught public speaking, broadcasting, show hosting, social media. So it's been a great run here in Gainesville. I've lived in Florida for over a decade now, and it's one of those things that I enjoy it. I always tell people I'm not from here, but I choose to be here. And that's something, if you were born here, that you don't have the luxury of. I get to pick where I live, and I pick Florida.
Very good. All right. Well, let's jump right in, and you kind of alluded to this a little bit, but let's really get into it as to why you're running for Congress right now.
It's one of these things that I'd kicked the tires on it for a while, going back to when I was a political news talk show host, and even back when I was in high school, before I could vote, I would help drive people to the polls on election day because I understood how important that was. That was something that was instilled into me with my parents and my grandparents, the sacrifices that people made, so we got to pick and choose who our leaders are. I watched in horror on election night as the dominoes fell in November of 2024, and sitting there going, how did we get here? What happened to my party? What happened to the Democratic Party that we are in this position tonight where, let's face it, we're getting run out of the gym. We are getting, stacking up loss after loss after loss, like they're, a kindergartner's Lego set. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, what are you going to do about it? And and this is one of those things that I think is very, very important. So I'm going to emphasize this. Both of my grandfathers served in World War II. My great uncle served in Korea. My uncle served in Vietnam. My dad is a teacher, retired, of course. My mom an emergency room nurse, OB nurse. My sister is a psychologist. My other sister runs a business with her husband, a construction business. So all these individuals in my family that help build me and make me the person who I am, they have all lived a life of service, giving back, helping mold our family, helping mold us grandkids. This, I say grandkids, but our generation. And I'd sat there that night and thought, okay, my nieces and nephews, Clark all the way to Harlow, 24 all the way to 5, all the way to 5 years old. I thought to myself, what are they going to remember about Uncle Seth? That Uncle Seth sat there and ran out the clock at the University of Florida in his career, had a comfortable setting, nothing wrong with that. Or that Uncle Seth made the same commitment to the future that both of my grandparents did, both my grandfathers, my grandmothers, everybody in my family. So I sat there and thought to myself, well, what are they going to remember about me? When they tell these stories that I'm telling you today, how are they going to talk about Uncle Seth? So it was time to step up. I've had a great career, like I said, 30 years in broadcasting, but now it's my turn to set an example and reestablish American stability for the next generation.
Okay, terrific. All right, well, that's a perfect segue into our next question, which is what national issue is most pressing to you, and what is the impact of that issue on our local community?
Well, the thing right now, where no matter where I go or who I talk to, it's not being able to afford things and not being able to live just a standard lifestyle. I mean, when, ground beef is $8 a pound now. And when you look around and you see bacon at $10 a pound and gas goes up and down like a yo-yo, people are making tough decisions. And those tough decisions include, do I pay the electric bill this month or do I pay the water bill this month? You get yourself into a position like that, you're shackled, right? So being able to afford necessities. Vicky, I saw a stat the other day where 7 out of 10 Americans are not going anywhere on vacation because they can't afford it this summer. So when you get to the point where you are picking food over being able to travel because that's what your priority is. I saw another statistic where 6 out of 10 people have admitted that they are putting food and groceries on layaway programs. Buy now, pay. That's food. That's something that you used to go to the grocery store and take as okay. All right, I'm not going to go eat out. I'm gonna tighten the belt there. Affordability is at the top of the list. It is. And how does that, resonate to where we are? Well, federal levels as opposed to state levels, one of the things that was occurring during the pandemic is that you had local farmers. You had local industries providing food to schools. The state shut that down, choosing to spend more money to drive up costs rather than farmers just farm to table, quick transition. Just small things like that can make the world a difference. And when you're creating tariffs for other countries, I grew up in rural Indiana. So there's the Ridge Farm, the Walter Farm, the Friend Farm, my grandmother's brothers and sisters that created these great farms. I try to still talk to my cousins. I talked to Jeff about a week and a half ago about what the tariffs did to his soybeans. And it's one of these things that if you can't feed people and the cost for farmers go up, Vicky, it goes up for everybody. So it's a standard economic understanding of how things work. And it's not a game. Okay. And when you have somebody that occupies 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue that has been through more bankruptcies than I have fingers because he can't manage money, then we are in trouble as a nation. And that's why we are in the position that we are in today. And my opponent on the Republican side is nothing more than a rubber stamp for that chaos.
Okay, very good. Next question has to do with inequity. And again, a perfect segue. I'll emphasize again that none of the candidates got the questions ahead of time. This is all just perfect issues on people's minds. Inequity continues to plague our region and the nation. What factors are the most significant contributors, and how do you think Congress can best address these?
This all goes back to the early 70s when they talk about minimum wage and wages. In 1974, the purchasing power that you had when you made minimum wage, you'd have to make, at least with minimum wage today, right around $45 an hour. Minimum wage would have to be $45 an hour in 2026 to have the same purchasing power that minimum wage had 50 years ago. So what we've done is we've diluted the middle class and the lower class when it comes to wages, and the rich just keep getting richer. I saw a statistic the other day where the top 2% of earners have seen their wages and salaries go up almost 240, 250%, where the average American worker has gone up something like 30 to 35% in the last 50 years. Right there's your problem. Now, how does Congress fix it or at least stabilize it? Because, Vicky, that's what this is. The campaign slogan that we have, reestablish American stability. It's like buying a house, something that I'm going through the procedure right now. If you don't have a solid foundation, it doesn't matter what the bathrooms are like, the kitchen's like, the upper, the attic, nothing else matters. If the foundation is crumbling and crooked, that house is coming down. Okay? So that's how you have to look at the United States of America right now. We have a couple of programs, part of our platform, and I know we'll probably get to more of that coming up. It's called the 13 Stripes of Strength, our platform. Three of the big things that we have in there. The first is a CEO salary cap. I don't begrudge anybody becoming a millionaire, but I want to retort or go back to the 90s of where we were when we had our last surplus, when the average CEO salary compared to the average worker was about 150 to 1. I want to make that a law where a CEO of a company cannot make more than 150 times that of their average employee. Vicky, if they want to pay themselves $10 million, knock yourself out. But it can't be more than 150 times that of their average employee. That's one of them. One of the other things that I want to do, going back, and this is where I can be bipartisan, Vicky. 1986, the corporate tax rate was 26% under Ronald Reagan. Right now it's 18%. I'm going to roll out my Reagan Redux, the sequel. We're going to bring back the corporate tax rate that was under Ronald Reagan in 1986 at 26%. The third thing I have is called our Triple E program, which is ending exceptions for the elite. Again, I don't begrudge anybody becoming a millionaire. I don't. But what we are going to do, when you take stock options and you park them and borrow against them, those days are going to come to an end. Your first $1 million, if you're Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, the first $1 million you get in the stock option, it's yours. But after that, there's going to be a sliding taxable scale that starts at 17%, 20%, 26%, all the way up the ladder. People will tell you that's an unrealized gain. Vicky, so's winning a car on The Price is Right. You have to pay taxes on that as well. So we have three major programs. You can check these all out at our brand new website. We just remodeled it. It launched, believe it or not, just a few hours ago at SethHarp.com. So all of these platforms and how we're going to do it and all the financial intricacies of it are there at SethHarp.com.
Perfect. All right. Terrific. Let's see. Where are we? We're on question 4. Rhetoric and gridlock have only increased in our nation. What measures do you think would help move us forward?
Talk is cheap. It's everything. And the thing is, politics are performative art. It is. You go back to Kennedy and Nixon in 1960. A lot of people that listened to that debate thought Richard Nixon won it. People that watched it thought John F. Kennedy won it. Why? Because look and posturing and the way that he carried himself when he spoke and when he talked. So when you look at things like this, there's got to be substance. We live in a world now, we are a Twitter generation. We are an X generation. The quick, snappy rhetoric, the headline is what sells. You see this all the time when I'll make a post on social media about something and people will start to comment and they didn't read the article or they just saw the picture or the headline. So it's one of those things you have to figure out how to deliver your message in a way that resonates with people today. The average attention span, there's why YouTube videos allow you to bail after 7 seconds, because people are going to give you about 7 seconds before they get bored or they start to yawn. That's just where we are attention span wise now. Do I wish it was that way? No, but it is. So it's one of those things where you have to meet people where they are attention span wise, because if you don't, then you're going to have a long drawn out conversation and they're going to check out on you. So there's a lot of harsh rhetoric. There is a lot of vitriol out there. And at times you have to find yourself or put yourself to be above the fray every now and then. But also every now and then, I say this and I say this time and time again. If somebody throws a grenade at you, you get to pick it up and throw it back. So it's one of those things that you need to stand up for yourself. And I think that's one thing that our party lacked is we took the high road way too often And sometimes that high road, no one else travels it but you. I'm not saying you have to be vulgar. I'm not saying you have to be cruel. But if somebody's picking on you, or if somebody's attacking your party, and somebody is, pointing a finger at you and they aren't telling the truth, it's not only your duty, it's your obligation to refute that and fight back.
Okay, terrific. Okay, and then the last question is one of those great wrap up questions, which is why should the business community support your campaign?
Because I am a union member. All right. I'm a member of the Alachua County Education Association. Workers first. If you look at this country, and this is why I love being a civics teacher. I love it, Vicki. This is why. Going back to FDR's New Deal, Truman's Fair Deal, President Kennedy's New Frontier. We can go up and down the list of Democratic presidents. What happens? Republican Congresses and Republican presidents break it. The Democrats fix it. Why would the business community endorse me? Because we are going to build a strong working middle class. When you have a strong working middle class that's dwindling, there's where your home purchases come from. There's where your new car purchases come from. There's where your new furniture comes from. Clothing, cosmetics, you name it. It comes from the middle class. And when that middle class starts to shrink and it starts to divide, you don't have that purchasing power. At one point, it was, speculated economically in the 70s, 80s, the middle class made up about 70 to 75% of America. Now it's down to around 25 to 30%. It's no wonder why inflation has spiked, is because wages haven't kept up. The thing is that you learn about Americans, and I learned this while I lived in Michigan and went to school with the auto workers. If you pay somebody a fair wage, Americans will work hard for you. It's when you have people, and I have this with teachers that I work with, that have 3 jobs. They get done teaching and then go work at the mall for 4 hours and then come home and grade papers, and they have children. When you are a public school teacher and you can't even afford to live off that salary as a job and you have to get a second job, the system is broken. So it's one of those things in the business community. And I always tell people, you hire smart, hardworking people and you reward them for their efforts. And those, you'll see the fruits of your labor, come back to you tenfold. So you hire smart, intelligent people and you pay them fairly, and it will pay dividends for years, if not decades to come.
Very good. Okay, well, those are the questions I have for you. So now I'm going to give you the floor for anything that we didn't talk about, anything you wanted to emphasize, and then you can kind of close us out and move us on.
Yeah, there's things that you learn being a broadcaster for multiple decades and also being a teacher. This isn't a game. These people's lives at stake here. It is a matter of life and death when you're cutting health insurance. It's a matter of life and death when the government is shut down and you're talking about bringing in replacement air traffic controllers at airports. These things have occurred in the last year. Vicki, since I started, the most horrific thing that's happened to me as a teacher, it was right around Halloween. I had students coming up to me saying, my mom's SNAP card, her EBT card doesn't work. Mr. Harp, do you have any extra candy or extra Halloween candy? I want to take it home to my sisters for dinner tonight. Yeah. So when you see Republicans, including my opponent, going on TV saying, we're cutting SNAP, what you're doing is cutting children's food. I am going to be a candidate, not only for Democrats, but for Republicans, for senior citizens, all the way down to infants. You have to be there for everybody. You have to act in the best interest of the collective whole, just not to impress 1 or 2 people that sign your donor paychecks. That's why I sit here and I tell everybody that I talk to watch what we do and listen to how we do it. That's why I thought it was so important to put a platform out. Top of the list, the 13 stripes of strength there, Vicki. There's 13 different things in there. Just like in the United States of America, in honor of our nation's 250th birthday, that's why we do it. I'm an American. I love this country. I love it. Those colors, the red, white, and blue, it belongs to all of us. And I tell people this when it comes to those 13 things, just like the 13 colonies. No one more bigger than the other when they established this thing in terms of importance. Now, delegates, yes, but in terms of the balance, that's why all clocks had to strike at the same time, as John Adams said when they were signing the Declaration of Independence. So, as we put this thing together, at the top of our list was Social Security stabilization. which is going to start to find itself in a predicament here in 6 years. We are just going to increase the threshold up to $250,000 that you pay in. It puts almost $3 trillion into it the next few decades, and it stabilizes it for an entire generation. These are just common sense solutions that you look back that the Democratic Party has done from FDR all the way up to President Obama and even into President Biden. These things work. There's a reason why when Democrats are in charge, the economy booms and jobs and wages increase. And when Republicans are in charge, from boom to doom. All you have to do is go back and look at it. So I encourage everybody to stop by our website, sethharp.com. You see all the tabs across the top where you can follow us on social media, check out what we're up to, donate to the campaign. We always could use the help there, and check out our entire platform. And look at those 13 things and say to yourself, do these things make my life and my loved ones' lives better? And the answer is going to be yes. And I'll leave you with this. This is a fundamental fact that you have to ask yourself during this election. What's more important to you? Being able to put an extra Christmas present or two under the tree for your grandchildren or kids. Being able to go out to dinner with your husband or wife once a month. Maybe saving a little side for that 25th, 35th, 45th, 50th wedding anniversary. Or Jeff Bezos having his own space program. Because that's the decision that you're going to have to make coming up here in 2026 and beyond. Because this is about the haves and the have-nots. And the haves do not care about you. You have to care about you. That's why we ask you on August 18th to vote Harp for Congress as the Democratic nominee. And on November 3rd, click next to Harp for Congress so I can represent you in Florida's 3rd congressional district.
Terrific. All right. Well, I'm going to echo one of Seth's points, and it is that all of us working together are the answer and the difference makers. And how we do that is by getting to know all of our candidates and ensuring that we're out there on August 18th, whether you vote early, whether you vote in person, doesn't really matter as long as you make your vote heard and participate in our primary this season. Thanks again very much, Seth. That was great getting to know you a little bit. Good luck out on the campaign trail.
And Vicki, thank you so much. And thanks to the Chamber and all the great work you do in town and in the surrounding areas. Can't thank you enough for the opportunity to share with all of you who Seth Harp is and what Harp for Congress is all about.
Terrific. Good luck out there on the streets. Bye.